Hello model car fans, welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Raul, and this week I'm going to feature an AMC here, and of course it's a Javelin, so one of my favorites. This is a 1971 Javelin AMX 401. Pretty much a stock build here from Johan Kit, but for 1971 AMC decided to no longer offer the AMX in a two-seat version. It was only available as a four-seat, and it was an option on the Javelin, where previously from 68 through 70 the Javelin was a four-seat model and a little bit longer, and the AMX was a shorter two-seat AMX experimental, much shorter car. Pretty much from the doors back it was completely different, so between the Javelin and the AMX. But for 71 there were some changes. Most noticeable is the body lines. Some people would call this the humpster because of these bulges here in the fenders and the way it's shaped. And there was some controversy on whether or not it was copying the Corvette, because this is very distinct and is real similar to the Corvette. But the AMX gave you a few options. It came with this cowl induction hood, which was a fiberglass hood, and then the rear spoiler here. Mark Donohue was claiming that gave him 100 foot-pounds of downforce at speed on the racetrack. So it really helped in the handling and traction department, as long as the front spoiler here, which was also on the AMX. Now another distinct feature of the AMX was the grille. To make it more aerodynamic, it was recommended that they flush the grille and not have so much deep offset. So between a Javelin grille and an AMX grille, they're actually much different, but ironically they're not. You look closely, and a lot of them, really all it is a stainless mesh grill that bolts on top of the original grill. So it's kind of funny that, you know, a regular Javelin grill and the AMX grill are really similar. It's just a stainless insert that bolts on top of it, gives it a little bit more flush look. Now that's the street car, and they did it all 4 years and kept the turn signals, but on some of the later ones like 73 and 74, they kept the round turn signals on the AMX and used the older grille. Turn signal lenses right here were square in the later ones as far as the stock ones, but when it came to the AMX they all used the round turn signals up here in the front. They did do some updating and they did some changes. Now you can get it with the 401, which is what this is right here, and that gave you an engine with 330 horsepower and 430 foot-pounds of torque with 9.5 to 1 compression, and a pretty potent engine, a forged crank, some pretty strong internals, so it was no slouch. It was a pretty good motor. And they put that, you had the available Borg-Warner T10 4-speed manual transmission in it, which is pretty cool, and a few other features. But these Volcano, they call these the Volcano wheels, but they're the rally wheels. First showed up on the Rebel machine, but they became available much more widespread in 71. So a very well liked wheel, although the offering here is a little bit exaggerated. They're really deep on here, but on a real car they're not quite that deep. And a few other features. The spoiler was fiberglass, and then something that most don't really notice, but the roof is actually different between a 71, 72. Have this T roof, if you can see the molding there, how it is stamped. It's got the T in it. That's a 71, 72 exclusive. 73 and 74 had a different roof. And they did a few other updates here and there. The rear was kind of about the only thing that's really different. Taillights are different, and the bumper. And a few other options between a 71 and 72. But there's some very distinct differences when it comes to the evolution from a 70 to a 71. But while 68 and 69 body was pretty much the same, 70 was a departure. A lot of the body lines had changed, but not drastically. But 71 they really changed, and they stayed this body all the way to 74, even though the AMX was now just a trim option and performance option on top of it. But as mentioned, this is a Johan model here, and it was kind of I'll put some pictures in, and I'll definitely put them at the end, because this was really a difficult one for me to do, and it still is very hard to find a stock one. But I had actually found a built-up race version where it pretty much used the same stock body, but it had some parts that were glued over the rear window that were long gone from mine when I got it, but the glue marks were still there. and then my hood was cracked. These are actually known for cracking right here. And there's an attachment point on the sprue right there. And I've had a couple that were cracked, but this one was really cracked, and you can see it in my photos. So at the end I'll have a slideshow of the 5 photos of what I started with. But I had the full race car interior, the race car chassis, and I was reviewing the pictures just to remember, because I did this one a number of years ago. And I remember that the headers were built wrong. So in the photo, look closely. The headers go one way, then the exhaust pipes, and then they got the collector coming out of it on one side. The other side was missing. But I got that because it was really hard to find a 71 or 72 to rebuild. And the main things is you got to get the body. The bumpers are a little bit different. This is a 71 rear bumper, of course. All of them say AMX. But to give you an idea, there's the 71, then the 71's taillights. The lens is actually the same in Johan, but the body is actually made differently back here, and then the roof has the T on it. This is my 72, and you can see the different rear bumper as far as the chrome trim is, 71, 72. The lens behind it is actually the same, so there's no difference there, and they both have the T roof, so you can see the T roofs there. And then 71 and 72 kits, the front bumpers, they're exactly the same, but there's no bumper guards. To give you an idea, I'm kind of teasing you with my 72 here, even though it's virtually the same. But to compare it to a 73, the 73 and 74 have the bumper guards here, but the rest of the front bumper is the same. There's the roof with no T molded into it. Hoping that comes out because it's kind of close to the light there and darkening itself. And then the whole rear panel is completely different. And this is molded in a little bit closer to the taillights than this one is. This has a separate panel that goes on top of it. So the rear bumper, this taillight panel, and the taillights are completely different. But there's a number of 72 kits that had the yellow molded in molded box cover. And you can see this tail panel, and I had one where I got this bumper, this taillights, but I actually got this body. So that bumper didn't quite fit in here, and then I didn't have the T on the roof. So I had to look for another body, which is how I built that one. But I'll get these out of the way and just show off the 71 here for comparison. But this one ended up being a full resto, and finding 73 and 74 were much easier and cheaper to come by. The glass is the same, but other than having to source out the body and the bumpers, the rest of it was easy to get at the time. They've gone up. And then I can build this. So once I got the body, and here we go, get the hood off, and got this piece in there, the air grabber portion of it, which is pretty cool they included that, but not all of them have it. And then for 71, here's another exclusive part there, the dual snorkel air cleaner with the air grabber. Pretty cool feature, but the 71s had that, and it's really rare. 72 and 73 didn't. And there's multiple parts, and it's pretty cool that Johan included all those parts. And painted the core support body color and a firewall, and detailed it out. And I went with a pretty black interior, kind of plain Jane, but there's the AMC steering wheel, which is pretty cool. And did the Go package, the black trim around the back. That's part of the Go package. And so are the stripes that are on the front end of this. And I painted the engine AMC blue. So I'll put the hood back on. I like to cut the pegs off of these, especially this hood, because they're so thin here and they're so easy to break, that I cut the pins off so I'm not taking them on and off that way. And I used AMT tires here. They just fit the body really well and look really good. And then here's the underside of it, so that you can see. That's pretty much all at the way that they're made from Johan. So this is all stock. It's really from a 73 or 74 kit, but the stock 71 kit would be all the same. Now I did have to fill, there's exhaust cutouts that were here on the body. That was the only real difference in the race car, and I can kind of see the small putty line, but I filled it in and then foiled it. And believe it or not, this one I actually used Tamiya's rattle can blue, and then the clear coat, I believe it was their TS13 paint. And then this decals, that's Fred Fred Katie. And there's small differences between a lot of the 70s. They come down a little bit different here. And then if you see the stripe on the 73 here, it actually hooks up. So there's a couple of different stripe variants. The 71 and then 72, 73, and 4 like this. Which I did this one in the gold, but same way. Got the T. So a couple of differences there. So I figured I would show it off to you here and kind of tease you with the other ones. But the blue really pops on this one, but even the red is really nice. But I'll feature the other two more in depth at a later time. But I wanted to show you my 71 here and show you some of the differences between the other years. 74 and 73, the kit from Johann is pretty much the same, although the real car there are a number of differences, and accuracy kind of goes out the window. But that's why I really don't have a 74 yet, but I do have another one to build. And but it may be more like this, as it was issued from Johann, but not really factory correct for AMC's 74 AMX offering, because they did do a couple of things here and there. But I'm real curious about your comments and what you think of it, and watch the little pictures at the end so you can kind of see what this thing started out as far as the original 71, but even though most of it is actually from a 73 or 74 kit. But thanks for tuning in and subscribing and letting me babble on, and I appreciate all your comments. I really do feed off of that, and they make my day. So you guys, you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday.